Hey, back.
Apologies, Sandra was very kind.
No, he was here at 6.
Right, that's what I'm saying, we were not on. That,
And I could have probably called her and told her to let me in.
You could have.
she would.
Might have.
Sandra, are you ready? And who do we have on Zoom tonight?
Nobody has a break.
Okay, we warned the public out. All right, well, without objection, we'll call the Business and Economic Development Task Force meeting in the city of Miami Springs to order. Today is a regular meeting, Thursday, October 6th. We are at 7 p.m., only slightly irregular, here at Council Chambers at City Hall. The meeting is now called to order, and I will ask Sandra to do a roll call.
Chair Trowbridge,
Here,
Vice Chair Carrillo,
Here.
Board Member Camacho,
here,
Board Member Leonard,
Here.
Board Member Garcia,
Here.
Board Member Hernandez,
Here.
and Board Member Santos.
here.
We have four.
Terrific. All right, we have the minutes now going back to August 2nd. As you know, we did not have quorum for the September meeting, so we're going back to August 2, 2022. Is there a motion to approve the minutes as presented? Motion. Thank you. There's a second. Second. Thank you, Francisco. Any discussion? All right, seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Motion carries, the minutes are approved. Sandra, thank you. To you and the team for always getting this done in a timely manner. Our next item is an update from council and city leadership, and I'm thrilled that our mayor is here. She and I had a conversation about a week and a half ago about the ministerial work the city needed to do, which I think you all were copied on a proposed resolution for extension. So welcome, Madam Mayor, and I'm really sorry to see that with the storm that came through and the plans that we had to postpone the celebration of our wonderful commissioner, but I know you have something planned to.
Yes,
do
and
that.
in November, we want to do it at the Curtis Mansion to showcase, to celebrate Commissioner Soso, who was very instrumental in, in getting the funding for the restoration of the Curtis Mansions. But we also want to showcase it as, it's such a great place for of Miami Springs, and we're inviting a lot of elected officials, and also Curtis Mansion is tied up in the month of October for that Cortez Mansion event. So we have to move.
Is that like a?
It's like a
haunted
haunted
house?
house. Yes, yes, yes.
I mean, and I feel like those are very nice. You can do both at the same time.
Well, I know when my girls were young, they had fun with their friends,
Yeah.
going to them and stuff, so
Well, thank you. I know.
So
that
we're
great night to honor.
postponing it to November, and we're still trying to work out a date that's good with her schedule and with the Curtis Mansion schedule and, the city schedule and also. But, it'll probably be in the middle of November. The other things that I wanted to mention is, let's see, our new city sign. Isn't it fun? It's.
Great job on that. I think I
yes.
saw it on Instagram today. It looked really
Yes,
great.
and that was a grant from the Realtors Association, Miami Association of Realtors, who are building their headquarters here in Miami Springs. They've been renting over in the building, used to be the Eastern, I always call it the Eastern Credit Union because that's what I remember it as, but they've been renting there for a long time and they're building their new headquarters here, and it's a stunning building. So this is the third year that they have approached us about a placemaker grant, which is to create, it's through the Realtors Association, and it's to create a new place. I mean, it's, and Maria and Charlie can explain more about it, but it's not to, use something that's already there and add to it, but just to create a new place. And so we've done 2 tiki huts in Miami Springs, the one at the boat ramp and one over at Reagan Park over the 2 years. And then this year, this was a great placemaking. And it's just perfect for our centennial celebration that's coming up, to just kick it off and get it started. Have this really nice sign that I think is going to be an Instagram moment. The Parks Board is going to work at doing some of the landscaping. They're already involved in landscaping for that area before the sign's coming. So that'd be really nice.
So if there's no objection, could we, on behalf of this committee, send them a thank you? Because I think it relates a lot to what we talked about in other types of monument signage and our history and things like that. But we really never had a significant gateway like that. I think it's a
You mean
real
to the Miami
business and
Realtors
economic
Association?
development Yeah, we would
Sure.
send it to Teresa or their chairperson.
And actually our, who we work with is Senator Anna Maria.
Sure, Rodriguez.
Rodriguez, who's our state senator and is also a realtor. They would love that. And we're
Okay.
going to have a groundbreaking, because we got a groundbreaking for the tiki huts, so we're gonna plan a groundbreaking with the sign too. Just,
But it's there physically now, it just hasn't been officially.
today, I think it's right, but it's already there, it's installed and everything, right? Just have a groundbreaking. So I think that would be lovely.
Yeah, we can do that, and I'll pass it around through Sandra. It's a nice opportunity to say you're already a step ahead of us, so thank you.
Yes.
And keep doing it.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
we have other gateways into the city.
Absolutely, and I think there's a lot of new opportunities to do that. You should, I always feel like when you enter Miami Springs, you should know I've entered Miami Springs. You shouldn't like look around and say, this is different, where am I? It should be like, okay, I know I've entered places, this is what it's called, so. And I guess the other thing, two other quick updates that I'll give you is, related to the Centennial Celebration. We, have an ordinance from the city. We passed it on the first round last meeting. It'll come before us again on Monday, to create a centennial committee to start planning for our centennial celebration, which is in 2026. It seems far away, but not. And plus, usually those celebrations, I'm hoping, that we'll have a year-long celebration. It should be like one day or one weekend or something. It should be a whole year that we can promote the city of Miami Springs, promote our restaurants, our shops, just really work it up. So we are creating a centennial committee. It'll be composed of 5 members, which will be appointees. Each council member will appoint one person to be on the committee. They have to be residents. And then there's the opportunity for at-large members that we also appoint others that aren't residents, but they're at-large members. And that's still, we still have a second approval on the Monday's agenda item. And then the last thing just to update you on is annexation. We just on Monday finally got the interlocal agreement from the county attorneys. So we need to rush it. I mean, I could tell you the calls back and forth with commissioners and everything, but ultimately it's work that their staff, their attorneys, their planning, their property appraisers, and all this have to coordinate before they give the agreement to us. So we received it Monday. Our city attorneys, our city manager are reviewing it. We've had a lot of meetings discussing issues, and there's some issues that we are going to address with the county to try to resolve them. One of them is mitigation fee, that it's in there. Mitigation will make it, will impact our ability to lower the millage to what we'd like to lower and what that area to lower it. So we're still working on it. The crunch time is that we really want to get the county commissioners, our commissioners that have been working on this for 27 years before some of them were turned out. So it's just one of those things. It wasn't approved till the summer by the county, and it's moving as fast as it can. So that's the latest news. I can't think of anything more pressing or.
I'm trying to mention that you're gonna do small adjustment to the ordinance to just extend our life so that we are at least in compliance from the 1 year.
Yes. We extended till the end of November to give you, because it was supposed to be a 1 year course, which would end in September. So we extended it till the end of November so they have time to submit the report to us. All right, thank you. And thank you again, all of you, for serving. Really,
Thank you.
It means a lot to
Would you-
us and residents.
Like to bring greetings on behalf of the chamber. Of course, please. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Everyone, Raul Pisoni, the new chamber, Miami Springs Airport area Conference president. Just wanted to let you know, we just had our relaunch party on September 22nd, had about 30 some odd people attend. Obviously, we're relaunching because we were pretty much dormant for a 2-year period, as we all know, what we went through, and the fact that most people did not want to take the time to go out and risk their lives in attending events, and so on and so forth. I want to take the time to mention that we all know, mostly residential. Thank you for our politicians with the annexation, because I think that's going to open up some wonderful opportunities for both our current business owners and future business owners that are going to impact our economy and our tax base as well, which I think is very important for our residents. But from a chamber perspective, I wanted to do something to also connect more with the local government. These things that Mel and Charlie, as well as some other board members from the previous board, wanted to do, so that we can understand how we can better serve our community and our business owners, but always taking into consideration the unique obstacles and situation that we have with Miami Springs. I'm hoping that working together with some of you on this task force as well will help us in growing the chamber faster and learning how to resolve those unique obstacles that we have here in Miami Springs. So I look forward to attending any other of these meetings. I was unaware until George reached out to me when I invited him personally to attend our relaunch party, that it was only for a year. The meetings were only for a year. But with that said, that doesn't mean that anyone here did not help the chamber basically achieve what I think we're all trying to achieve here, both with your task force as well as what we're going to be doing with the chamber. So thank you for your time. You'll be seeing me more often once you're done. We do have a meet our local government officials event on October 20th. I do have some makeshift flyers just to hand out so you can have something in your hands to take home with you tonight. And then I also have an Eventbrite link that I can immediately share with anyone that's interested. So not only you are aware, but you can also invite everyone that you know. So we can all work on this together. Okay? Thank you very much.
So may I ask a couple questions? So what is your day job? Because obviously this is a big volunteer opportunity.
I've been in the mortgage business for 7 years. I own my own mortgage company.
And it's here in the Springs.
It is not here in the Springs currently because
Not
I
yet.
temporarily moved it to Doral for the pandemic reasons. Anyways, that's neither here nor there, but listen, I'm passionate about this. You know, I've been in a business that rubs elbows. As you know, I was a pillar member, I think you guys call it, where I used to go to your wonderful meetings over at the Gables. And while we are not the Gables, because again, the residential aspect of it, limited commercial influence, makes us very different. But I think it also makes us unique and closer as business owners. You know, my personal opinion is if I'm going to buy something or do something, I'll do it here first before I do anywhere else. So again, for right now, it is more or less a one-man show.
Yeah.
But that's why I can take on anyone that's willing to help, and like I said, we do it together for tight-knit community.
You said you had about 30 folks coming to your first.
We had about
That's
30,
amazing.
30 individuals
Congratulations.
come out. Thank you very much. Actually, Yannick and his father Patrick were nice enough to host the event.
Nice.
So it was a great turnout, great food, great and once again, an opportunity to reconnect with both past members and potential members. Moving forward.
Well, I really appreciate anybody who steps forward and volunteers, but especially in the chamber world. Please, if you have those flyers, pass them out to everybody. I mean, we can have some good representation. It sounds wonderful.
We'll do. I'll get you
Thank you
guys
for
on
your
the-
leadership.
Thank you.
Michael, Mr. Fabula, do you have anything you want to do in public comment?
No.
All right, I thought I would ask. All right, seeing no other public here to comment, I don't think we have anybody on Zoom, right? We'll move to old business. So in front of you is the most recent survey tabulation. And so I thought maybe we could spend a few minutes looking at that. We've done this once before. We agreed to leave it deployed. I think we did it until the end of September. But I think, first of all, how terrific that we had over 400 responses. And I think you see some very interesting patterns here. So I'm going to open it for discussion. And I think this becomes a document that is part of a living, breathing document that informs what, you know, many of our recommendations are when we come back before council with those formally. So food for thought, George.
A lot of these results or the points that we brought up in the presentation, but they're kind of tied to a lot of the conclusions. One didn't have a lot, but I think it's like what we're trying to accomplish is get more attention to Miami Springs. And they mentioned there about events, right? And I thought that we probably will have take a bigger effort just local government, but I think it's obviously always comes down to volunteers, but I think we need to get, in reference to event, like, aviation festival that just, I don't know, have a River Cities Festival, that's a major task to create one, but I want to get us back tied to aviation. Obviously, there's trade shows, that are pretty big already in Miami-Dade County. But maybe not necessarily a trade show, but something with aviation, memorial, memorabilia, or collectibles, something that just kind of brings people from all over the place to Miami Springs. And then that, of course, we start tying a lot of things that we want to showcase, which is our community. And, maybe also companies that are in the aviation business will consider us for relocation. And one of the things that drives recruitment now is this type of talent. We say it all the time. I just moved the whole company to Chicago because things that don't quite work out for them for recruitment. So I think I want something like an aviation festival. I said memorabilia collectible because I didn't see anything in Dade County that had that. Other major airports do all over the country and other places, but not in Miami-Dade County. So something like that just keeps attracting more visitors, potential businesses, and attention to our county. I think something like that would be, beneficial.
Great, George. Patrick.
I've seen a couple questions asked people. Restaurant that people over 300. That's
Yeah, pretty,
kind of
pretty.
but what users would you like to see more of the central business district along the city? We have the 72 small investments. And
Very close behind the retail.
exactly.
We talked about, because I was brought up a number of times, that we have such limitations on 6th Street, couldn't build a CVS or.
Exactly. Very interesting. The
Walgreens.
other thing is, we have a lot of residents of the United States that are related to religion. The whole time. I have a lot of friends, which, Google, we all have things like this. That you look at things like that, it's not everything. If you can, where you decide the new sign that you just do that, you can represent cuts, the history of life. So we've been talking about it, and it's probably.
Okay. Now, Vice Chair.
I thought it was pretty interesting. I think everybody has talked about it, but they touched on the things we've talked about, like building star. So I guess this is. I think it was good because at least we know that we were in the right direction as far as some of our recommendations are concerned.
Thank you. And again, a lot of the folks that build it out don't have a business here. They have an interest in having their voice heard about business. So, they didn't skip that question, they participated in that, which I think is great. Charlie?
A couple of comments, going back to the mayor's, I guess, preparation for the centennial. 286 respondents said that they would like to see a statue or memorial to Glenn Curtis. So if there was some way, somehow that we could, as part of that centennial, find a way of getting that done, I don't know.
And maybe our friends of the Association of Realtors would consider that gateway.
That would be, that's Miami Springs, Glenn Curtis.
Okay.
So that would be interesting. And the other thing is that, one of the things that we've talked about regarding Westwood Drive has been heating it up, lighting it up and all that. And a lot of the lights that are there now, the first 2 blocks, most of them are out. I don't know if I'm everywhere, but that's something that we need the city to go back and look at, to make sure that all those trees are lit up. Hopefully, we can go the other 2 blocks. Especially now that the holiday season is gonna start. Cause now it looks bad that you only have 3 trees lit up. And the rest are not. That's it.
Sure. Fidel?
Yes, I think this basically reflects a lot of what we've been talking about. What I really would like to see out of this is to go deeper into some of those categories. Kind of break them down and go after a second survey, where we
Okay.
really gather more detailed information on what each one of these.
Can you give us one example?
Yes, for example, lighting, I want to know which areas people like, which ones do have it, but it's not enough. The building facades to just go deeper into these things like greenery. I think I mentioned before the fact that we have a lot of greenery, but it may not be the most beautiful ones. So maybe to go a little deeper into that, something more beautiful, more creative.
Like, what are people thinking when they say green?
Exactly. That's what I would like to get out of this, especially this question number 6. I think we have the opportunity to create a second survey and go deeper into these categories, get more details.
We asked a couple things differently about parking. We asked about charging. Not charging was pretty overwhelming. People didn't want to be charged for parking. But then I can see more of it. So there's a little bit of a disconnect that it's hard to finance and build it if you're not going to have a way to collect and create natural turnover. So when you talked about people might park in front of the business all day, and it wasn't a little more regulated.
I think with the right assumptions, it could be done. Because we're not going to affect the people that live here.
Okay. But there's a big number in that number 6 also, like you said, about the greenery, which popped up in a couple of them.
Exactly. But we don't know what it actually means.
It's
Yeah.
interesting,
That's
going back to the greenery. For a long time, we had the banners, I don't know if you remember, a picture of Curtis Parkway. And Maria Davis was the city manager at that time, and she instituted putting the annuals around the oak trees. And it was such a magnificent parkway, really, that we used it as a banner. And maybe that's something we should consider, something that brought attention to it. It was really an amazing. What's that?
It was beautiful.
The last comment
Expensive,
about that,
I'm
down just the trees, the roots of the trees.
Yeah.
The annuals.
Oh, really? They're not really symbiotic then. You got you. There are different moisture levels and things. So.
I was
Patience required a lot of.
I was up in the middle of the state. Now that you say that, it's very interesting. We did something similar, that they had hanging baskets, just pentas and invitations. So maybe that's something that could be
I think
considered.
those are perennials even, so they live
And that looked rare, very magnificent.
a lot of color.
Right,
You know,
because you have a beautiful canopy, so maybe that's the way to get it on.
So I think one of the things that has been a great outcome of the work we've done is that this was one of the first conversations we had now going on nearly a year ago, was to have a survey. We had over 420 people submit. It was about 5 to 1 in terms of the online submissions versus paper. Not surprised by that, because folks can do it in many cases right from their phone at that exact moment. It was only 15 or so questions, which we also agreed was very important. But it could be one of our recommendations that, while this is living now, let's give it another 3 months, 6 months, and ask, a little deeper dive into certain questions that we're interested in hearing more about. So maybe that can be picked up in another way. We're not here in terms of our committee. There are other ways to do that. Social media, especially, like I see the Instagram page every day, and that's how I saw the beautiful new sign, and it happened, within minutes. So I think, again, knowing that the majority of folks really went for the online, and so that we can work in that space pretty judiciously. that's a great recommendation, Fidel. Other thoughts in terms of this survey where it stands today? Any surprises? I mean, I like seeing what people think we're missing, but I'm more interested in what they think we're good with. You know what I mean? Like, they're thinking, we don't need any more gyms, right? I'm all for that. But more entertainment. I don't know if there was ever a movie theater contemplated since, of course, the 72 years ago. Because those tend to be big draws. And especially the design nowadays, you can build partner with, you know, cinemas that are a little higher end. So it isn't just kind of roving teenagers who are here to see the latest Minions movie.
I mean, just to chime in very quickly, and mostly those answers were like more locations for entertainment, the
Okay.
kids. Very
Right.
few were so specified as like, we need a bowling alley,
Okay.
or we want a skating rink, or
Just
an
more
arcade. Yeah.
Options.
It was more broadened to like, oh, we
Okay.
just need more entertainment locations to be able to hang out.
All right. Charlie should be our resident expert on entertainment. That's just what you wanted to add.
No, I think really, like I mentioned it before, we need to find something like we said before, maybe an event, you know, showcasing the aviation, but bring excitement into town, whatever that may be. There's I think overall, nationally, there's a move towards nostalgia, small towns. And we are really blessed that we have some of those elements, that if we can just figure out a way to capitalize on it and have people come in, whether it's a ice cream social or something ridiculous that may sound corny, but those are the things that people are craving for, you know, nationally.
Yeah, who would have guessed pickleball would be
Right.
the biggest rage in, you know, fitness right now?
An
right?
ice cream parlor, you know, stuff like that. We've tried that before, and it hasn't worked. We've got to get the right mix.
What about any thoughts? We kind of broke the community up, obviously, with the CBD and Circle and the 36th Street and Fairway Drive. Anything there that people talk a little bit about? Like, traffic calming is number one. Question 8. They obviously see that, you know, 36th Street is just, it's a raceway.
I think for 36th Street, I think that really requires a much deeper dive. And I think it starts with the zoning and the code, because you really can't build what the people want based on the, I guess, on the zoning code, and I think we did a review on that. That's back or something.
Yes,
Other than
it's
hotel.
pretty limited, but other than
It's
nice job
it's very limited.
digging into that.
So if we want to try to bring retail there, or the pharmacy there,
Our pharmacy, yeah.
you know, they can't do it the way the zoning is right now for 36th Street.
Okay.
No, I don't know what the answer is.
No, I mean, that's in our recommendations, everyone, take another look at that. Okay. Anything else in terms of the survey or thoughts on the survey? I think it's a great recommendation to see, you know, how to give it a little life a few months from now. Because people's tastes change, there's different mood, like get different respondents. And then to Fidel's point, let's dig a little deeper into some of these questions that it's hard to decipher from just the mere top 3. Sandra could be helpful because she saw every response.
Literally every.
Are there any responses that made people seem crazy? Please
Do I
pass.
say it on the record?
We'll call those the, no, I won't make you answer. Call those the outtakes. Anybody want to see those?
Yeah,
Maybe we're not ready for that. We're a little maybe thin skinned. All right. And maybe the chamber can help us too as an opportunity. You know, once we presented the council, maybe we can then come and present to the business community as well. So that you all are informed. We'll get some indication once we present to council how they're feeling, but they're gonna have to prioritize too, because some of these items require dollars to invest. So, okay. So without any further ado, we can move on to the final report discussion. That's item 5B. So we were together in August, and we talked a little bit about it unofficially in, I think, September. You know, we have a number of recommendations already put together. So if you look at second document that Sandra has prepared, kind of cobble these together in terms of each meeting. So I think what we'll probably need to do is make sure everybody's still very comfortable with this. Some folks aren't board members anymore, but still are gonna honor their recommendations. And then maybe put these in a priority order. So maybe we can, as a little homework assignment, take a good look at this and help us maybe prioritize these. I think looking at 36th Street zoning is probably very top. Because we saw some things there that ministerially could probably be addressed if the council has the will to do that. But there are some other things, that would take a little bit more time and activity, like when we talk about the Peta Park system. We talk a little bit about the first page, the viewing of the color palette. You know that the city this year had budgeted for some code updates related to signage. I know you finished the budget for next year. Is there a path and a priority for next year in terms of code? Because I know you're not doing it all at once.
We allocated money in the budget to continue the code revision,
Okay,
but we haven't had a council meeting where we decide what the next.
but that is, but we could offer our voice to that.
It should be part of your
Okay.
recommendation, if you feel, but that's, it should be addressed.
So that's on the first page there. That was one of our early priorities back from February. We talked a little bit about parking, obviously small business incentives. Looking at the commercial trash enclosures, there was a long discussion on, what was happening in certain businesses and the smell that was coming from the trash cans. I remember Captain talking a little bit about that. Talk a little about events. We saw some of that in the survey. What are those opportunities to attract events like you mentioned in the aviation festival? So I would recommend, is there an opportunity for us to sit down with like the Convention and Visitors Bureau, which works with the entire county, and make sure that they're aware of all of our assets here and that we're top of mind with them when organizations come to them and oftentimes ask for recommendations.
So I've never honestly been to one of those trade shows, but some trade shows sometimes have a city booth, right?
Well, it depends on the style of the trade show, but absolutely. So, like in the Smart Cities trade show that was just on the beach, I know Coral Gables had a booth. The city did that. But we have a very large Convention and Visitors Bureau, and every one of our hotels, no matter their size or kind of demographic, contribute to the Convention Bureau's budget through a bed tax. So, when you check out of your hotel, you see your sales tax, might be a resort tax, and then you've got some type of local ordinance bed tax. And that money goes to a pot of money that the CVB can then leverage, Convention Bureau can then leverage. But I think it'd be great, didn't necessarily happen in this time frame, but to invite them to present before a council meeting. I don't know if they're paying a lot of attention to it, Samantha.
I'll tell you, I reached out to him when I first got on the council because of that, because I said, we're paying a lot of money, we have a lot of hotels, we're paying a lot of bed taxes. And we don't see a lot of promotion in the city. That was when I was first on the council and had several meetings. We wound up getting a visitor center down there, and they painted visitor center. And let's just say they did what they do very well. It didn't move the needle for Miami Springs because we're not particularly, the things that they do. Realistically, I mean, somebody's coming to Miami-Dade County, we're going to be number 32 on the list of things to do when you're in Miami-Dade County. That's just, let's be honest.
Right.
But that doesn't mean.
But we can move the needle together. I think we should.
Try
So
again and.
they have a new CEO who's been there just about 1
Yes,
year.
yes,
They
yes.
have a new
It's certainly worth.
communications director who I just emailed with today.
And in fact, for the centennial, that was someone I was going to reach out to the new CEO to appoint somebody to this as at large member for the centennial committee.
Okay. So would anybody object if we just added that as, to do more assertive outreach? And I'd be glad to help you with that, because I was on his search committee for the new CEO, so.
That
David was here
yeah, he was here.
for 14 years before he left for 14 years, so he's come back to Miami. And one of the things during the interview process is we talked about Miami Beach obviously gets a lot of attention. They also contribute $2.5 million a year to their budget. We're not in a position obviously to do that, but we are contributing bed tax dollars, and we have assets. Whether you're talking about golf, whether you're talking about that charm, the Curtis Mansion. There's a lot of people who travel and like to see historic places, that type of thing. So, okay. So if you guys don't mind, I'll add that, and I'll be glad to help champion that with you, Natalie. Do you need a motion to add that?
To future agenda?
No, it'd just be to add it to the recommendations.
No, absolutely. So yeah, you would need to, do a motion for that.
Okay, do I have a motion on that item? We'll take you as the motion.
And I'll second.
And Rita will second. Thank you. Any further discussion? All right, so all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? And I think that picks up a few of the things that you see there around events, trade shows, other opportunities. And I'm a big fair share guy. So if you'd like, maybe we can invite him to lunch, the three of us. Fantastic. So that would be to do further outreach to the Convention and Visitors Bureau and pitch Miami Springs and all of our assets. Okay. So would folks feel comfortable like letting Sandra know within the next week kind of your priorities? I think I looked around and everyone was kind of shaking their head that, the ones that related to kind of the Northwest 36th Street district were really our top priorities that we want to see the council take a pretty good look at. But I don't want to minimize anything else, but we maybe like to give them, sort of have these discussions, we have these recommendations, and we put them in our priority order for you to review and ultimately decide. Anything in the code space, knowing that it's not yet been allocated, the money's been allocated but not earmarked, would be great. That's a nice fit there. Take a look at that. Okay. Anything else? So if I can ask everybody maybe by next Friday, that would be the 14th. Just send back to Sandra your top 5. There's a few more recommendations than that, but at least we can prioritize them. And you can do them by the number. You can say from August 4th, item 6A is my top choice, which is the code changes. Did you guys put a similar amount of money into the budget last year?
I think we did the same amount.
Were you able to accomplish what you wanted to do with the signage?
We haven't received the final product yet,
But the work is
the
moved
work,
along.
right,
That's good.
it's not something that, we do, or. we have
Right, I know you're
to
using
do
it
it,
outside,
Because you can't even have residents do it, because you have to be
very
cognizant of,
technical.
the federal laws and state laws and laws, that. So it has to be somebody that's familiar with the codes that exist, it's not just, we would like to put this in.
But through the procurement process, you'll be able to keep working with the same company, it doesn't have to start over.
Yes, and our intent is to continue, hopefully, even when I'm gone, that, the city will continue to set aside.
This will
money.
take
Last year
several
was the
years.
first time, this will take a long, long time, we're a 100-year-old city. We have codes that, were created 70, 80 years ago and have never, or have been piecemeal, updated in the 40s or 50s, so they're still really outdated, even if something was done, 30, 40 years ago, it's outdated, and compared to a city like Doral, it's 20 years old, all their codes are pretty current because they're within the last 20 years, so there's a lot of our code reviews that need to be water
Gotcha.
sections. It'll be a long-term project for a very long amount of years.
Like the highlights.
Please.
Just because sometimes it's on a short period, I'm this through this. I think it's important to talk about this recommendation. That the city, consider hiring someone that can help this whole process. Legislation, taking recommendations, actually, work. Whether part-time or full-time, but just consider somebody that can help them. I think a lot of times that I've heard from years of people that are involved, it's not that they don't want to do it, but it's just that they don't really have personnel to do it. And to give them to do another couple things, and just they have too much thing on the plate with it. So we really want to take this as a priority and talk about. We think we need to hire a professional to do it. To really get through the revitalization of our downtown, and step that needs to be taken.
So would you like to make that into a recommendation?
I think we have
I think they might need-
Oh, which number is it?
So it's page 8, 5B.
Yeah,
So you're just redrawing our
yeah,
attention.
that's not fun.
This is really B. Under the Street America. Okay. Everyone found that, so it's under July 1, 2022, 5D. Thank you. Anything else in terms of recommendations? Our goal now is to prioritize it, so your top 4 or 5, please, by next Friday. Send it to Sandra, she will count the secret ballots. And then that will be on our next agenda, to then vote that up or down. And I think that'll get us pretty close to what we're ready to present to the council. They're really comfortable with that. Go ahead,
Chair,
Charlie.
was a recommendation to review the code for Northwest 36. Because I see the, that's the section, part of it, but I don't see the recommendation.
So I think we adopted this entire document.
Yes, so the Northwest 36th Street section, which is page 9, so on the same one where Mr. Santini made the recommendation, so it's A and then B. Northwest 36th, and then the second sheet, which would be page 9, is like what's helping it.
So B on page 8 refers to this document.
So not every recommendation has the supporting document, but that's the one for this.
Right, so this page refers to the document that they'll create. Bill, you had a question too?
Yeah, and we're missing the new business that we talked about, Sandra, which was the sales approach for the building department and health department in the city. And I remember I brought in a piece of paper.
So that's under new business, is that correct?
It's under new business.
Okay.
I'm not sure if we got it yet.
We haven't, so I would recommend tabling this item for a moment so we
Okay.
can talk about the new business
Okay,
and then come back in case there is a recommendation.
okay.
That'll
We
be
missed it
under
there in the.
I don't have it. Do you have it? Like, can you send it by email? I can run and print it?
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. So without objection, Charlie, did we answer your question? Okay. All right, so without objection, we'll table,
Excuse me, I have to take a Zoom call at 8.
All right.
so-
say hello from us. We'll table 5B for the moment to allow for the new business discussion. Meeting frequency has been on all of our agendas. I think at this moment, given that the council has taken action to extend this to the end of November, our next meeting would be officially November 3rd. Is everybody okay with that date? Because we did great tonight with quorum. My apologies again for being 10 minutes late.
I'm not
And an hour on top of that.
I'm not gonna be here.
Okay, we need 6, correct?
So if everybody else.
How's everybody else that night? It's Thursday, November 3rd. And we may have Andrea too. so-
Yeah, it's just.
And Jennifer potential. Potential. Oh, I feel like you wanted to say something. Feel free to take all the pens you would like. I'm kidding. Okay. So with that, then we'll go to new business. So Fidel, you're up.
Okay, so I passed out those sheet of papers that day, and I think it was a take home kind of homework. My recommendation is since we're tackling those zoning codes for 36th Street, that we could have a different approach from the building department, other departments.
Okay.
Just kind of be more aggressive.
Right. Instead of saying you can't do that here.
Or like, come in, knock on the door, let's talk about it, type of thing.
Okay.
But also add some of the new tools that salespeople use nowadays, like Calendly and the ability
Salesforce.
to have a video meeting, just being more, I guess, efficient and effective. That was it.
Yeah, I don't think anybody even has the official title of economic development in their title. Subsets of that, I think it's to your point earlier, George, that carving out maybe doesn't do enough. We need something more dedicated. But I think you're also saying that there's training that can be done that says, at the end of the day, you're helping sell Miami Springs as much as you are also approving a plumbing permit or
Yeah.
approving a special event permit.
Positions like the city planner, for example.
Okay.
It's someone that has to be ready to talk about all these new projects, ideas, say yes or no, maybe.
Okay. So would you be comfortable if we made that into a motion where it was more like integrating like a sales and marketing approach?
I wouldn't say marketing.
Okay.
It's more sales. I do believe that we have to market the idea of 36th Street.
Okay.
Probably before making changes and
Yeah.
after making changes. Because I think we're gonna have new pitches.
Okay.
Let's call it like that.
So would you like to make a motion on your own idea
Yes,
to
I have
integrate
the paper.
a sales
I-
approach?
It's something that I wrote. I just sent it to you, Sandra, and I think everybody took it home that day, but it was here.
Okay.
You get it?
I
You
haven't
have
seen
to
it on my
print it out.
email, but I can go check my computer.
Okay.
Give me just a minute, sorry.
We'll
I would,
stand by.
things like that. We can also have one of those automated chat bots on the website that can reply to certain questions and redirect certain questions to certain departments.
Right, things that are like frequently asked.
Exactly, but also being able to right away schedule a meeting with someone like that. Because I think that's what we're missing.
Do you think that's the main entree that folks probably need to meet with is city
So
planner?
now, the way the city is set up, yes,
Okay,
but it's gonna be a lot of pressure, I think, at some point. Right now, maybe very few people knock on that door. That's what we're trying to fix. And when it gets fixed, we're hoping that a lot of people knock on that door.
yeah, I don't know. if
Is
it's
it a
full-time
part-time
or part-time.
position? Full-time. Is it a full-time position?
Planner, yes.
He comes in a couple of times a week.
No, yes,
Okay.
For the full-time position.
Yeah.
Okay,
And the whole concept is that we're not getting enough interest on 36th Street. And part of it, I think,
we'll turn people away for a long time.
I think, is the zoning code. If we change that, if we market out the new changes, then I think there's an opportunity to handle those new people knocking on the door in a different way, more efficient.
See, I'm just checking her emails. How about any other topics or under new business, so we could hold that for a moment? Any other new businesses, or new business? Do we have any new businesses that we're excited about in the Springs that we can go and support? You said you had quite a few folks that came to your kickoff.
I did, most of them are Miami Springs residents that either have their businesses already in Miami Springs
Uh-huh.
or have established businesses outside of Miami Springs, but nothing new. I did knock on the door of a couple of other places like Mar. It's funny you brought up Mar, because of the sign, which I've yet to see, but I look forward to seeing it on Instagram.
Check your Instagram.
Now,
I
social media,
think it's on MySpace too.
yeah, my space.
Sorry. I'm here all week.
And there was, someone that wrote to me, I don't recall the name of the business, but they have that language, for video where they translate movies right here on 26th Street.
Oh, yeah, she came and actually was here, I think.
Yeah.
Right next to
On
the,
the- on the-
Yeah,
one of
they
their
came
first
up.
meetings, 'cause I can't
Yeah.
remember the names.
I
So I
remember.
actually went to try and see her, but she wasn't available. Also, the teachers union. I thought since they've been in really a large union, I figured they'd do a good. But no one new that has reached out to me. Remember, I just started communicating via
Sure,
social
I
media
understand.
and Springs.com. It was like maybe a month and a half ago.
Yeah, I
That's
understand for
before
sure.
that. What are we doing?
But, that's what I think people will be a big turn on for them, is that you're present and you get yourself some additional board members. And I'm sure there are folks who've been involved over the years that kind of drifted away, but then, just need a reason to come back. And I will tell you, I think, because a lot of folks work remotely, chambers and opportunities to come together are, maybe for some of them, one of the few opportunities they have to do that. All right, Sandra, thank you.
I tried.
All right, Fidel, walk us through this and let's take a motion from it.
Very well. It's, in essence, is everything I talked about. I think everyone remember almost everything. On that first point, what I suggest is to basically change the signatures of some of the emails for this departments that could get affected with this integration. And add it to a calendar, which is gonna allow the person to tap into your schedule, those open spots, and schedule something right away. So it just cuts right through any delays. You would have an appointment, a meeting right away. Allow this, I don't know if this is taking place right now, but the ability to have a Google Meet or Zoom call, is that happening right now, Sandra, at all?
We don't use Google Meet, so we do Zoom meetings, but not
With
Google.
potential projects like developers and things like that?
Yes, if they request it, yeah. So I know zoning has had a couple, our attorneys have had a couple, so it's.
So maybe we should just do more out there. Another way of.
Yeah, I like that it's in signature lines too.
Yeah, absolutely. I also noted here that the website already has information for all the team here. Then we can also add that calendar link as well. And then I talked about integrating a chat on the website with the facts, the frequently asked questions, and also a way to navigate directly to book meetings and things of that sort. It's just be more efficient, faster to get to the point. And I also wrote here about possibility of running marketing campaigns. With the idea that I think it's in people's minds that we're not flexible about any new construction. It's just a word that goes around, been around for a while. And this is an effort to kind of erase that from people's minds and saying, listen, we're being proactive about this, we're gonna make these changes, and right after we make the changes, we can also come back and say, hey, we're ready, knock on this door, book me here, here's how to reach a city planner quickly, come pitch your new project. But this is, in essence, that's what this is. This is the second phase of changing the zoning codes on 36th Street.
So I guess my question to you is, under the new business, we have kind of the headline. You want to have this then kind of keep it the headline, but there are 3 additional components to it, or would you like to break them up? Because they're somewhat similar, but
Yeah,
marketing campaigns a little bit different. Maybe take, the sales approach includes block 1.
I would probably recommend adding this to 36th Street recommendation.
Okay.
towards the end of that paper.
So we'll amend that recommendation.
That move this away from here.
Okay.
Add it to the end.
Okay.
Of 36, 37.
I just want to make sure that Sandra kind of knows where to put it, so that when you're prioritizing, so you understood that, Sandra?
Yes, so it's, the motion was to adopt code changes recommendations, provided by yourself. Do you want to then amend that to add these integrated sales approach to that motion?
Yes, basically from this in the paper, we're gonna take away, just right. On that paragraph related to marketing, all the way to the second paper, the second page. Take it away from here and add it to the end of the 36th Street recommendation.
Okay. Everyone understand? Okay, so I need to amend that. So if you would like to, recommended to agree. So that's usual. You're comfortable with that?
That makes more sense.
Yeah, that's fine.
It kind of flows.
It's
along.
kind of a big omnibus.
It flows
Okay,
better that
so
way.
George, if you're okay with that. And Maria, you're okay with that. You guys made the motion in a second. Then now we're gonna add in and further integrate a sales approach in certain positions within the city and then adopt these recommendations. Everyone understand? Okay. So motion to approve that. You make the motion, Charlie?
No, what I just for clarification, I understand the marketing before and marketing afterwards. For the whole 36 change, but I think that the sales approach should be separate by itself. You know, it should be like a whole cultural, shift in the way, the administration,
Right.
the building official, whatever, the planning, when people come in, they're more like
We
selling.
don't have a motion yet, so we're just discussing.
That's just the way I see it, but,
So to give it
keep
its
it both
own kind of,
bifurcated.
give it its own kind of gravitas.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's what.
Fidel, you comfortable with that?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Bottom.
so let's amend, because we've already got an agreement from the motion and the second from the vice chair, that the recommendation on that one will just cover the marketing piece. Correct? Before and after.
For the code change.
Yes. Okay. Is there a motion to approve that amendment?
Yeah, absolutely.
I just can't. All right, do we have a second? Yes, okay. We do need a second.
It's not-
Everyone understands what we're doing. So we're bifurcating, my favorite word.
Yeah.
And putting the marketing piece under the existing recommendation that Mr. Santeen proposed. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed, nay. So that motion is amended and recommendation is amended. So now we have a consideration of an additional recommendation. So that is really focusing on a cultural approach, as Charlie said, integrating sales in certain positions that will go beyond code, etc. That'll need to be something discussed and come from the top. All right, is there a motion to approve that? All right, we have a motion. Is there a second? All right, any further discussion? Again, this relates to the tools and techniques piece of the recommendation. All right, seeing none, all in favor say aye. Any opposed, nay? All right, that motion carries. So tonight, we've added 2 new recommendations to our existing group, and we've amended another. So what you'll get from Sandra that you need to rank then is those integrated and updated recommendations. We're
We'll
asking,
be at 14 recommendations.
that's great. So if you come back with 5 at least, you can rank them all if you want. But I would say at least your top 5, because then you're giving us a third of them. And I'm sure we'll see some consensus. I'm sure there'll be some outliers as well. And that is going to be our main item for the November 3rd agenda. So we need everybody here. Maria's going to be away November 3rd at 6 p.m. All right, everybody clear? Anything else for the agenda? This is our goal, is to kind of wrap up, and then we'll know when we'll be on on the docket. I'd also love to talk a little bit about maybe the presentation and format. I do want to have all of you there, maybe some kind of PowerPoint that walks through our top priorities. All right, anything else for the good of the orders? You're a beautiful group. Your motion to adjourn. You have a motion and a second. Without objection, we'll stand adjourned. Thank you again for being with us tonight. Rose, appreciate you.
My pleasure. Thank you, Sandra.
Now we got 14 recommendations. You're gonna do it in, you're gonna do it in, what is that, Dingbat Spa? You hear that? Remember that spa? It looks like a choo-choo train. What is a pleasure?